Well, last time I came on a stage, someone told me that I have a face for radio and voice for the newspapers. And as you can see, things haven't really changed much. Today, I'm here to tell you about a secret social network. This network is hands down world's greatest network, and my slide has come a little earlier, so let's have a look at it. It's a lot bigger than Facebook. In fact, it's bigger than Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google+, all combined together. To have things in perspective, let's have a look at this picture. Am I the only one, or the elephant looks really confused? So the code name of this social network is THN. So imagine the value a social network like THN can add to your life. All eminent personalities of the world, ranging from presidents of nations to CEOs of all companies to celebrities, every single person is present on this network. The security of this network is so strong that even if all hackers in the world join their hands to try to hack into your profile, they would never be able to do so. Perhaps because your profile on THN doesn't really require a password to sign in. All features of THN are available to you 24/7 for free, even when you do not have access to the internet. If I tell you that access to this amazing social network is invitation only, how many of you would want to give it a try? Please raise your hands. Okay, almost everybody. So I promise before I step down from the stage, every single one of you present here will have an active profile on THN. We cannot unlock the power of THN or any other network unless we understand and acknowledge the fact that it's not the features of a social network that makes a social network great, but it's the people present on it. People like you and me are the core, are the building blocks of any social network, including the THN. Let's take example of Facebook. We all are there on Facebook, but if you put aside the limited number of friends you have on Facebook, imagine 99.99% people present on Facebook are just strangers to you, and vice versa. The chances of you meeting these strangers in the virtual world are close to nil. So let's first move on to the role of strangers in our life, and then we will come back to THN. When was the last time you said hello to a stranger? Before I go there, let me tell you, I owe a lot in my life to a lot of random strangers. I owe my first job to a stranger who directed me to an interview while he was taking printout of his own profile in a cyber cafe. I met one of my best friends in a crowded McD while we both were standing in the washroom queue. So the point I'm trying to make is this: strangers do have an ability, a power to add considerable amount of value to our lives. Let me ask you this question before I move further. In last 6 months, did you come across a stranger who you found really interesting, who raised your curiosity, who almost made you walk up to him or her and say hello? If that happened with you, just raise your hands and imagine, what did you do about it? The chances are that you did nothing about it, and your brain convinced you not to do that by giving you one of the following reasons. Aren't you busy? Isn't it a creepy thing to do? What if that person is rude to you? But if you give it a thought, all these reasons are not real. The real reasons are three. There are three major reasons which we often overlook, which are responsible for our fear for strangers, or which make us avoid strangers. So let's look at the first fear. The number one fear is hardwired fear of strangers. We all are born with a hardwired fear of approaching strangers. Imagine the world 6,000 years ago, when we used to live in jungles, in tribes, our ancestors. If we choose to walk up to a stranger, that stranger may belong to an enemy tribe, and he may turn and decide to kill us. If we are carrying some fruits with us, going back home 6,000 years ago, and if we bump into a stranger, chances are that stranger will look at us and say, why go hunting when I can kill this guy and run with his fruits? So we have that fear hardwired, just like the fear of loud noises, and this fear is not going away. One way to overcome this fear is to acknowledge it, to accept it, and speak it out in your mind. So next time when you want to walk up to a stranger and you feel this anxiety, hold on for a second, talk to yourself and say, I'm feeling this fear. It's not real. I know why I'm feeling it. But I do not need it anymore in the 21st century. Nobody is going to kill me just because I walk up to them and say hello, right? That doesn't happen anymore. The second reason is stranger danger. In almost all cultures of the world, including India, kids grow up with one very specific advice from their parents. Don't talk to strangers. Stay away from strangers. Strangers are evil. If you keep talking to strangers, one day someone might kidnap you. We all have grown up listening to this advice. And that makes sense when you are 10 years old. But imagine when you grow up, when you turn 18, when you turn 25, when you turn 45, this little fear, this little conditioning somehow stucks in our subconscious. And that really holds us back when we try to make new connections when we grow up. And the third fear, which is my favorite as well, is the obsession over technology. Let's have a look at this picture. Can we relate to it? Now, this picture is not a joke. I read in news that there is a dedicated lane in Chongqing, a Chinese city, for smartphone addicts. So look where we all are heading. And let me ask you this question. Have you ever used your mobile phone as a strategic device to avoid eye contact with a stranger in an elevator? That stranger could be your super boss, could be your principal, but we all have done that. We look like the most busy person ever on the planet when we do that, right? We suddenly turn out from someone who has no work to a very busy person. Have you ever dialed a fake call from your phone when you are in a party or a social function just to pretend that you have a life? When I was preparing for this talk, I realized that we grossly overestimate the chances of being snubbed by a stranger when we approach them. So I decided to take a 30 days stranger challenge. What does that mean? For last 30 days, I have spoken to a stranger every single day while stepping out of my comfort zone. Why did I do it? I felt that we are very active on all kinds of social networks. We are doing more networking than ever in the history. But what we are missing on is the human touch, the human connect. So what did I do? I didn't change my daily routine. I kept doing what I used to do, but I just made myself aware of any opportunity of speaking to a new person without really harassing anybody, right? So you don't want to sit there and wait for a chance that, oh, stranger, jump on him. But yes, you organically become aware, and every time there is an opportunity, all I did was to say hello. All I did was say, hey, what's up? How is it going? Nice shirt, nice glasses. And then I just stepped back and waited for a response. And I let the conversation evolve on its own. Some conversations lasted a few seconds, some a few minutes, and some lasted as much as 45 minutes. The key thing in all of these conversations was the intent over content. A lot of times in life, we get too worked up. trying to come up with that perfect line, to come up with that perfect thing to say to a stranger. But what really matters is the right intent. If you just say hello to a stranger, I guarantee you that nobody will ever snub you. So who did I speak to? I spoke to everybody indiscriminately. I tried to cover people from different profiles, different backgrounds, different age groups. I spoke to a policeman. I spoke to a burqa-clad girl. I spoke to a janitor. I spoke to a filmmaker. I spoke to corporate professionals. I spoke to students. And when I was doing that, I was hoping that when I stand over here today, I have something to share with you, the power of strangers, the power that strangers have to touch our lives, to enrich our lives. So what were the results? What came out of it? In last 30 days, I made 11 new acquaintances. We are connected on Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. I made 2 new friends. We've already seen a movie together and we have hung out a few times. Really cool guys. And I've hired a new employee for my own company. And not just that, once I bumped into an editor of a newspaper, and she, the very next day, within a few days, she did a full-page article on me in the features section. And all these people that I spoke to, while they were departing, I told them that, hey, this is the reason why I first spoke to you. I'm actually doing a 30 days challenge. And when they came to know about it, all of them were excited, all of them were very positive, and all of them really, really supported this initiative. And they have actually given some testimonials to share with you. And I want to play those testimonials for you right now.
Talking to someone in a strange place that you've never met before is like travel, but better than so many people when they travel photograph the sights and move on without looking at what was really there. When you talk to a stranger, you don't just walk past somebody, you see them and you find out about them and you learn.
We've been born and brought up saying that don't talk to strangers, but I just don't believe it anymore, and I think we have enough sense to understand which stranger is good and which is bad, and I think we should go with our instinct and go and connect with people, reach out to people and create a beautiful world.
As a foreigner, I am a bit afraid of Indians staring at me in the street, so I think that speaking is really better than staring.
We were sitting in our own spaces, me being an introvert as normal. Didn't want anyone to ruin my personal space. And then we had a little conversation, and little did I know that this conversation is actually going to be full of value. Yeah, we spoke for half an hour. So,
as yoga is all about embracing and opening up to new people, I think this verbal communication with people will really go a long way in forging new bonds.
I did the same a few years back, where I decided that I wanted to speak to somebody I didn't know, I just shortly met, and I invited them over for lunch at my office. I met so many different types of people during that time, but now speaking to you again, I realized the meaning of it and how important actually it was to do that.
So this little chat unknowingly has given me so much of knowledge beyond I could have expected, yeah.
When you're talking with someone who just introduces themselves, just like you did, you then have an opportunity just for that little bit of time to enter into their lives and really communicate on quite a deep level for a very little time and probably never see them again. But both lives have been enhanced.
You know, I meet lots of strangers, it's a little bit my job, and I have to say that what I really like about this project is the idea that, you know, people get to connect, because we're often living our lives through glass and computers and chips and wires, and it's nice when people actually get to speak to flesh and blood, and I think this is an absolutely wonderful initiative, the idea of just talking, because I think that the world's problems would be a lot better off if we did just that.
Now, as many of you might have rightly guessed, THN is just an acronym for the human network. There are more than 7 billion people present on the human network. We all have a profile on it by default. The question is, are we really active on it? The question is, how far are we willing to go to unlock its true potential? Virtual social networks are no doubt important, but they are, in a way, enablers to the human social network. It wouldn't be wrong to say that the greatest social network ever on planet has always been, is, and will always be the human network. Thank you so much.